comedy or tragedy, depending on one's experience in life. Contest chair, judges, fellow Toastmasters and guests, I'm here to give you some perspective about what it means to live life. One likes to think of defining a roommate as a situation where the university chooses to pair you with someone that you know for sure will not get along with you. As nice a person as you are, the other person is always going to be hellish. That is the motto of what a roommate is, the way universities tend to pair people. Let me try and generalize this in terms of what it means for two girls being as roommates and two boys being as roommates. So the first case, two girls talk. Oh my God, this is so cool, you're my roommate. And two boys, oh yeah, sure, okay. The first week, the girls, let's go for a movie, yeah! And then the boys, yeah sure, why not? Week 2, the girls, can you stop taking so much time in the shower? And week 2, hey, you like that game, brother? That's cool, I like it too. And week 3, please stop taking my stuff without asking me. The boys as roommates, hey bro, you want that beer? Sure. Anything that I have is yours. That's a bit of a generalization, but let me fast forward to my days as a pre-university student. Ramdas was the name of my roommate. He was a fairly religious guy, and I was totally the opposite kind. Despite all that, he had the cheekiness to actually go and place an incense cracker bomb outside our room when I was studying. For those of you who may not understand what it is, this is a timer bomb. So you have an agarbatti and then you place a cracker around that, enough to cause an alarm and some bit of surprise, fright, and that's what he succeeded in doing that. With all that, he was very good when it came to attending private tuitions. But when the alarm rang off 10 minutes, he was still asleep and I was the one wide awake. I'll move to the next scenario in terms of my initial days in the US as a master's student. The first week, living with temporary roommates, we're all on a shoestring budget. We're looking for that first part-time job on campus or a graduate assistantship or a teaching assistantship that gives you some reduction in the tuition. It is so competitive. Roommates wouldn't even describe or talk to each other in terms of where they went, who they met, and they wouldn't take messages for each other. That was how competitive it got. The next set of roommates, again being on a shoestring budget that we were, a haircut around those days would cost us anywhere from $7 to $10. So we figured, okay, we roommates could possibly give each other haircuts. And so I was the first victim. So my roommate went on to give a haircut to me. And what an amazing thing it was. Wow. So much so that I had to rush to the salon and the barber said, son, someone sure messed with your hair. And I'm paying for that even now, as you can see, after so many years. The next phase, and this got even more interesting as we move on. We were in a 2-bedroom condo meant for 4 roommates, and then 2 others piled on. The notion was that if you were out of a lease and you were looking for a full-time job in the market, you could tend to pile on with your roommates. And we had some additional bunker space. But look at this, 6 people living in a condo with 1 bathroom. We're talking of 1 bathroom, a single enclosure of a sink, a toilet, and a shower. Some of us were able to actually plan our time and schedule around, but not everyone. And there was Bobby. Bobby Singh, the name rings a bell even to this day. Bobby was so particular. He would get into the bathroom at possibly around 8 o'clock and take a whole hour to come out. Sound familiar? Mahesh, my other roommate, was so peeved. I've got to figure out a way to get in before this guy does. That was one part of the incident. And then we were taking turns to cook. Anshuman, one of our roommates, he was always into cooking malai kofta. And it was incredible. He'd have a recipe book and he would look at it. Oh, Mahesh, you want some malai kofta? Yeah, sure, why not? Week after week he'd do that. But I failed to understand why he needed the recipe book each time to make the same dish. And then there was Bobby. He'd have a cooker, he'd put some black beans, masala in it, and say, okay, I'm setting food here for cooking. He'd go play a game of squash for an hour, come back and say, dinner's served. Sure enough, we were not eating dinner on those nights. Those were also the days of a single landline phone, no caller ID. So if there was a phone call coming in, 6 roommates, you didn't know who it was for, whose girlfriend was calling, whose parent was calling, and you had to take turns to actually make outbound calls as well. Why am I saying all this? Because somewhere in it, we learned lessons of tolerance, how to live with people, how to understand people from different backgrounds, and that was key. I didn't need to go to a therapist at all. My roommate was giving me enough free advice. For those who tried shrinks, try having a roommate. What you also learn is in the process of all this, there is so much more learning to do. You also decide, hey, is this a fun experience or is this a tragedy? I'll end with a quotation here. Maggie Race, one of the life coaches, says, if you are not connecting on a daily basis with your spouse, who you have as a soulmate may turn out to be a roommate. To your point, Meghla, please start connecting more often. And with that, I'll turn it over to you, Contestia.